So I stated this in my Maker Magic video, but I do honestly really like any type of ability that can act like a Swiss Army knife that you could utilize in any variety of situations. The Maker Magic has different varieties based off elements or even memory that could help get you out of specific situations. But another type of magic that does that is actually Requip magic, which allows you to have a variety of different items, armors, or even just clothing or something mundane, and you can be ready for any situation you possibly need to at any given moment. Requip magic honestly feels like one of the more versatile types of magic abilities that on the surface could just be something relatively simple, but if used in the right way, it could be probably one of the most deadliest tools you could use in a fight. So today, I'm going to go over Requip magic, who has used it in the different varieties that you can use it for. But before we get into this video, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make here on the channel and shows you want to see more. Fairy Tail Explained has been doing very good and I intend to keep it up because there's a lot for me to talk about when it comes to Fairy Tail. So I've got some stuff in the pipeline that I do want to go over as well. So with that out of the way, let's get started. So let's just start off with the classification, as Requip magic is basically both a caster type magic and a spatial type magic, similar to a Celestial Spirit Wizard. And instead of summoning people or living things, Requip magic just summons particular items and equipment whenever the caster deems fit. The biggest poster child for this type of magic is obviously Erza Scarlet, one of the main characters of Fairy Tail and one of the strongest characters in the series. And we have used her use it in a variety of different ways for weapons and armor or even just clothing. But there are other characters that have also used Requip magic, and that is actually Bisca, who is also from Fairy Tail, as she primarily uses it to summon out giant guns and weapons whenever she sees fit, just like Erza does with her armor. So Requip magic is a type of magic that allows the user to store items in a pocket dimension so that they can summon whatever is within it at any moment of any time, whether it be during a battle or even during just the most mundane of situations. Now obviously this gives the user a lot of flexibility and options in combat, allowing them to freely switch between different objects at multiple points. Probably the best utilization and example of this is when Erza fought the 100 monsters during the challenge in the Grand Magic Games arc, where she ended up facing off a variety of different monsters with different magical affinities and abilities, and she constantly switched between different armors and weapons for not only resisting different types of magics, but also making magical weapons that could actually deal damage with an advantage against other types of magical creatures in that space. And Erza is the one that uses Requip magic to the highest proficiency possible. As showcased in this one particular fight, she was able to switch through different armors and weapons on a dime, within seconds of encountering a new foe and using it for any particular situation that she is in, showing true mastery over her own magic and the pocket dimension that it encapsulates itself within. Now, Requip magic's pocket dimension does have a limit to how much can be stored in there, though we're never given an exact number of what we can see. All we know is that Erza has roughly over 20 different types of armors and weaponry within her Requip, so there is a possibility that maybe the cap is at 100 for all we know, maybe a bit more, but we're never given a hard number as to what the limit of Requip magic storage can in fact be. Now, one other aspect that I think Requip magic is actually pretty fun with is that you can actually view your inventory of that pocket dimension whenever you want. You can literally make a projection screen to like scroll like you're in a video game as to what is in your dimension that you could just freely pick out if you just want to take your time with, or even just add things into this pocket dimension without actually having to full on wear it to begin with. For example, let's say you find some of the most rarest items or armor or weaponry or even some really nice clothing. You buy them or you find them in a dungeon somewhere. You don't have to put it on before having it registered in your Requip. You can literally just see it and just throw it in your pocket dimension whenever you want. It's very simple to use if I'm being honest with you. Now, like when it came to Maker magic, there's actually two different types of styles in terms of utilizing Requip magic. There's the Knight and the Gunner, and I'll go over each of these different styles right now, starting with the Knight, as that is one we have seen the most, and it is tied to Erza. Now, the Knight is basically just another iteration of Requip, where it allows the user to store weapons and armors within the pocket dimension and summon them during battle, giving high-level offense and defensive flexibility in combat. And this type of Requip actually gives the user resistances to particular elements and even use particular magical elements when equipped to specific armors, like with Erza's Flame Empress armor where she has a resistance against flames, but could actually use flames as well with this armor. You can also throw in swords as well, but that ties more into like the basic Requip that anybody could potentially use. The Knight is primarily focused around different types of armor and giving resistances and elemental boosts to the user. Now, when I said that there was a cap for the limit on the pocket dimension, an interesting fact to note is that Erza does actually have a space in her dorm at Fairy Hills where she lives, where she keeps a lot of her spare armor. So she tends to swap armors whenever she has the opportunity to, but she has her base armors that she primarily keeps in storage for everyday use. And with full-on mastery of this magical ability, the users can equip different types of weapons and armors from different sets, like I mentioned in the previous example where Erza fought the 100 monsters. Now, I could go on and name every single one of Erza's armors, but that would be a video in and of itself. Let me know if you want me to just go over each and every one of Erza's armors. That would be a long video, but that would be a fun one to go over anyway. But yeah, the Knight is primarily a Requip magic, primarily focused on armors and the elemental resistances and power-ups based off particular armors that they could be utilized for. And Erza is literally the poster child for not just this type of Requip magic, but for Requip magic as a whole. But with the Knight out of the way, let's get into the Gunner. And this is probably the shortest aspect of this video because the Gunner is literally just the Knight, but instead of armors, it is primarily firearms. And Biska is the one that uses it in Fairy Tail, as we've seen her use it for multiple varieties throughout the series with different types of guns. Now, like with the Knight and basic Requip magic, there is a limit to how much can be stored within the pocket dimension of someone that uses the Gunner type of Requip. But unlike what it seems with Erza, it is primarily tied to the magic capacity of the user. And also, when summoning a gun, its special abilities and the usage of it depends purely on the situation when it is brought out into the fold. We've only really seen 5 types of magical firearms in this series, and only 4 of which are named, and they don't really have any particular types of elemental abilities. It all purely relies on lacrimas that are used inside each gun. And the only real advantages is whether you want to go for a sniper, a Tommy gun, a machine gun, or whatever. There's no real limit to what there is, but magical firearms are kind of like in the back burner when it comes to utilizing Requip. It's obvious that the Knight is the one that got the most attention, because obviously it's Erza and one of the title characters, so obviously the most thought is going to go into the one that one of the main characters uses. But yeah, that's basically everything you needed to know about Requip. There wasn't a whole lot of information. The main bulk of Requip magic is tied to each individual armor and weapon that Erza and other characters have utilized, so there isn't a lot to fully deep dive into. Though I do need to add that this is definitely one of my favorite types of magic in Fairy Tail, just for the sheer Swiss Army knife ability of it being used in combat or in everyday life. And I feel like if you're an RPG nerd or just a action game type of person that likes going for different types of rare items and equipping different combinations for what's best for you with different stat boosts and stuff like that, it just feels like the gamers type of magic, you know what I mean? Off topic, I've been watching Solo Leveling right now, and just imagine if Sun Jin-woo had Requip magic and was able to requip different types of armors and weapons on the fly in the midst of battle. I have not read the webcomic. I have no idea if the manhwa has reached a point where he can do that at will without having to stop and just change his equipment, but I can just do it by sheer thought. I'm pretty sure he could probably do that later down the road in the manhwa, but mama readers, don't spoil me or anything. I'm still anime only. But yeah, I like Solo Leveling. Anyway, brief tangent over. Requip magic is definitely one of my more favorite magics, and I like the versatility of it, giving you a different variety of abilities and armors that you could use in any type of battle situation if you plan ahead. But what did you think about this video? Do you like Requip magic? What is your favorite type of Requip that you've seen Erza use, and what's your favorite armor? Let me know in the comment section down below, and don't worry, I do plan on going over all of Erza's individual armor at some point down the road, because that is a fun video to really dive into. And also let me know what other types of magical abilities you'd like me to explain in the world of Fairy Tail for a future video. And what's more, like and subscribe, hit the notification bell for updates on future videos. Really helps, and it shows you guys enjoy the content I make on the channel and shows you want to see more. And with all that said and done, I hope you all have an awesome day. I'm calling it right now, there's going to be at least 5 people in the comments section saying that Erza's seduction armor is their favorite. I swear.